Well, speaking of live reads, I mean, a lot of people might not know this, but you had some roots in radio a long time ago. Can you tell us how you got into that as a career path?
I mean, I didn't really go too much into it, but it's like college radio at Syracuse, and then I was fortunate enough to intern at Sirius when they were first starting, and between Shade 45, which was Eminem's channel, and just whatever they were doing, and that was kind of like my start, and just getting to be in their like talent department and the late night shows with Kay Slay, rest in peace, and Tony Touch and Green Lantern and like all these legends, and it was a blessing and a very humbling start. And that's kind of how I got my start. And it's like I still am fortunate to like be in good graces with them, and that was where I got my start. And it wasn't on the air; it was more behind the scenes with like bookings and just making sure people got in and taking care of them. And I think that, as most of y'all know, it's like it's all about how you take care of people and how you like work and deal with people. And that's fortunately a lot of how everything is okay. Like everything is good. So yeah. But I hope people appreciate radio, especially like on a regional level, and how between like blog, like, and I know right now the conversation on the internet is like the blog era, and listen, most of those people were fortunate to be in a regional level of, whether it be the DMV, South Florida, Atlanta, Cali, the Northwest, the Midwest, etc. Like you can't do anything unless you're good in your local area, and I think radio has always been special and important for that. So yeah, I'm blessed to be from that kind of semblance of a cocoon.
Yeah, and I mean, like radio, like you said, like regionally, it sets the tone a lot of times regionally, and like that's where a lot of people learn about other places and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I wait, J5, you're from the DMV, right?
Yeah, I'm from, well, technically not. I'm from South Virginia. They usually count Northern Virginia as part of the DMV. So like the 757 is its own thing. But yeah, I'm from Norfolk.
I can never keep up, but I mean, like 757, that's like it's like literally clips. That's like
Yeah.
Pusha Malice, like so. I mean, you're in your like that's important.
And like we're right in the middle. And I say this a lot on the show. Like the only way that I knew about like a UGK, 8 Ball MJG, but I also knew about Jay-Z and everyone else is because like Virginia is really like a melting pot. You know, like a lot of people from New York come down to Virginia, a lot of people from Atlanta, like Texas, all over, they come to Virginia because it's also like a big military naval town too. So like radio was the way that, the mix shows on 103 Jams and, DJB, everyone over there, they were playing shit from all over the place. And that's how I learned, about, a lot of LA rappers, a lot of down south rappers, a lot of New York rappers. Like we just had such a great advantage to be just kind of in the middle of everything. But in terms of like, Matt, you working on the talent side of everything, how like stressful was that? Like in the beginning, like was this something where you were like, I don't know if I'm ready for all of this?
I was kind of like very unsure. Like it was
Right.
very much just like you get thrown into it, and thankfully I had, a good like the people that were my bosses were just like they just kind of threw me into the fire,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, okay, like you got to bring these people into the show, you got to make sure they're on time, and if there's any kind of problems, like just you got to work with the managers and everyone. And I think that was very important for my upbringing of like, all right, you got to know the people around the people. Like, yeah, it's great to know like for K Slay, it was always like Papoose people or like Black Hand and like all of his people. And it's like, all right, make sure everyone's taken care of and like they're in and they're happy. And of course it's going to make like a good show. So I think that was always important. And also just like even behind the scenes of like K Slay, like Tony Touch, make sure they're getting paid on time. Like
Right.
I don't think everyone makes like, listen, K Slay would hit me if he's on a net 30 payment, he would hit me net 29 and a half. Like, are we good? And like that is what made me a good like asset to him. And I'm again very fortunate for everything that he did as just like, I didn't listen. I was not in New York during his prime, but what he kind of like represented as just like an important asset and facet of New York and beyond that, like he gave me the nickname Matlock, and that just like has always stuck with me as like shit. All right, like gave me agency, gave me like a special feeling, and you know, whether or not he meant that or not, like, I'm very fortunate, and like I think about him all the time. Even he used to call me randomly, like even after we stopped working together, because there was somebody else at Empire named Matt, and all of a sudden I see his name pop on my phone. I'm like, oh fuck! Like sorry, I don't know if we can curse
We
on,
can cuss.
on
We can
my
cuss.
podcast.
Absolutely.
We can cuss.
And I'd be like, K-Slay's calling me, like that's important. And I'd be like, what up, Slay? And he's like, yo. And I'd be like, what's going on? He's like, something like something unrelated to everything I do. And I'm like, I think I got the wrong Matt. And he'd be like, my bad. And that was it. And that was like, but I mean, again, like the people that we work with, and I'm sure both y'all, like Josh, I know you have, you know, like super important people you deal with, and they're just like you see them on the same level as y'all. And that's important, because we never want to, like, as much as we understand how special people are, I think it's even more important, especially in what we do, of like keeping everyone at the same level. And I think that makes people feel even just like more important, of like, you're not holding me above people, you're not holding me below people. And like, that's part of what makes, I think, things move. Like, keep it simple.
Yeah, no, that's a real good gem, because I feel like, you know, a lot of people kind of look at artists as like these kind of mystical figures sometimes. And, you know, they hold them up on that plateau, that platform. And, you know, they don't really want that. They want to be treated like everyone else and kind of just know that you're doing a good job because that's what you're here to do, rather than doing it just because who they are.
No, absolutely. But real quick, sorry, I'm not familiar. My man MC, tell me. I feel bad. I don't want to come in here and feel like I'm the special guest, because I am not.
You are the special guest.
But what's going on? But also, like, shout out. I saw Mensch was in here. I saw A Plus, who was a previous special guest of y'all. Like, I want to make sure that, like, those guys are just important as hell. Holy shit.
Absolutely. I can already tell that I'm in good territory. I see the Marlins hat. I feel very comfortable this week.
Oh, y'all Florida boys. Y'all Florida boys.
Yeah, sometimes it's really hard dealing with two Laker fans. You know what I'm saying? I got to keep things a little bit leveled, a little bit, you know, a little bit calm, a little bit down to earth.
Wait, J5, you're a Lakers fan? How did that happen?
Bro, tell me what NBA team is in Norfolk, Virginia.
Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber from the Bullets? Like, what's going on?
No, nobody in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton, Portsmouth, Chesapeake. No one is repping the fucking Wizards.
You didn't follow AI to Philly? Like,
oh yeah, well, okay. Here's the lineage of J5 sports, because I was always an NBA guy. Like, that's how it was in my house. Like, when Iverson made 2 Sixers, I was an Iverson fan. But we were always Bulls fans in between that shit. So we never had loyalty. Like, the fact that, like, there's some people in Virginia that's like, I'm a Cowboys fan, loyal. I'm like, how the fuck are you loyal? You're not even from Texas. Like, people are like, literally, like, you can't like more than one team or some shit like that. I'm like, how could you parse that? Because we don't have any teams. We have a minor league team called the Tides. That's like I think the Orioles own us, and that's it.
It's like AAA, right?
Yes, exactly. Like, that's all we got.
Wait, how did the Bulls come into it? I missed that.
Jordan. It was like, because again, you know, before Iverson, it was Jordan. It was like, okay, that everyone loves Jordan, so I guess we all love Jordan. And then Iverson came in, and I had the questions, then I had the answers, then I had the jersey, all that shit. And then I was like,
2001 finals happened.
Yeah, and then the 2005, Josh, that is exactly what happened. The 2001 finals happened, and I was like, yo, the Lakers are kind of fire. And then I became a Kobe fan after that.
Yeah, man.
I feel very old to be like, the 2001 finals. Like, what decade are we in?
Yeah, we're all old at this point.
Wait, can I bring up a crazy conspiracy theory I just learned about? That there's a Jimmy Butler, Michael Jordan connection that I'm just hearing.
What is that?
That is true.
Josh, is that you?
I heard it on Reddit.
Josh made it on Reddit.
on which subreddit?
I don't know. All of a sudden, someone told me, like, okay, so Michael Jordan was playing with the Wizards, and that was the same time that, like, Jimmy Butler's mother lived there. No, North Carolina. And now, like, I'm like, I can't, like, I just went through the whole thing. Shout out to my guy Benner and our boy Peach from Henny Palooza. And all of a sudden, he was the one that told me about what's his name from the Warriors, Wiggins. and like that awful conspiracy theory about like his family situation. I'm like, I can't do another one. Like, I'm not following it.
No, that's absolute. I know that there was a report from Skip Bayless that had talked about his father and the possibility of something being happening within the past week, and all the comments were like, "Oh man, pray for Michael Jordan." So I was like, "Okay, it seems to be like this is convincing a lot of people."
As someone that was in radio in a sense, like this is not a sports radio thing, but I don't know.
Well, conspiracy theories are very supported here on Black Print, so we completely understand it.
But again,
Let's go.
Getting back to that Florida connection. We got MC here. We got Matt here. I think MC wanted to know like how like what was like your research process in like finding like Florida artists, or like, you know, how do you find all these Florida artists? Because like he was telling us earlier, like, oh, he signed this person. I'm like, who the fuck are these people that you're talking about?
Yeah, I feel like I could find out pretty easy before I even knew the city. I'm just gonna present you something, Matt. If I presented you the word JIT, do you spell it with a J or a G?
J every time.
There we go. Okay.
Where is G? There is never a time where JIT is spelled with a G. It's JIT. J-I.
There's people in Tampa. Some people in Tampa might be very furious right now. They're all tuning out. I'm sorry, Tampa, but you know, it's just spelled correctly. But I was checking out the Alamo Records page. I saw that you had Wi-Fi out in West Palm. Trapland Pat, I saw that on like a Palm Beach, on like a Palm Beach, like a only in Palm Beach type page. I was like, wow, he's really tapped in with a lot of South Florida. I wonder how he ended up finding these people.
I mean, listen, I will not take credit for either of those, or as much as like I end up working with them. And again, our A&Rs are usually ahead of it by like miles. And so, you know, for someone like Trapland, and it's really cool because Trapland's Haitian, like Sapase. And he's in it, and he's signed to Fredo Bang from New Orleans. No, Fredo's Baton Rouge, but like Trapland's tapped. Like he's got records with freaking like T Grizzly to whoever that kid is, Little Toe, and now all of a sudden
that's another West Palm legend. Little Toe.
Trapland Pat is signed to Fredo Bang.
Yes, he is.
I never knew that. Fredo Bang, the executive. I never knew.
No, Fredo, and I mean there's another artist, unfortunately, that Fredo signed who may have literally it was crazy. He signed the kid, we brought him to us, and then like within a week, sadly, or you know, depending on who you look at, like he is now I think in jail for a long time for a murder charge. And all of a sudden we were like, oh, we're gonna set up these albums, and it's like not so fast. And I think again, like without getting too, you know, like facetious, it's like shit in the world we live in and how we operate. It's like there's so much happening. But no, Fredo is tapped in, and I think Fredo is like very tasteful and like just I'm fortunate to like be in the same realm as Fredo. But Trapland is really dope from Florida. We had Wi-Fi for a minute, and he's still doing things locally. It's cool that like a lot of stuff we do recently is with La Tyler from Tallahassee, and he's you know, probably one of the closer artists to like breaking out in the entire nation in this year. Like, you know, I know a lot of times we talk about like in the, you know, like just how we converse amongst like industry people. It's like, who's going to break? We have Yeet in the past few years. We have Glorilla. Like La Tyler's one of them, you know, and so it's cool to see like Florida still being represented, and that's cool.